So basically, Thanksgiving, I come downstairs, and I looked up. I was scratching back of my neck, and I feel this big old lump on my neck, and I'm like, "Hey, Mom, look at this!" And so immediately rushed to the doctor, and they say it's a lymph node, and I have a sinus infection. And so we went with that story for a whole month. My mother she realized that something was terribly wrong when I didn't wake up for Christmas morning.
I don't think that there's any time to think about it. I know that sounds crazy, but there's not. Like, you just react. And you know there's something wrong. And you just go.
Every 3 minutes, a seemingly healthy child is diagnosed with cancer. About 1 in 285 children in the U.S. will be diagnosed with cancer before they reach the age of 20. So what goes through a parent's mind when they hear their child has cancer? Where do they get treatments? Who provides financial aid? Who do they trust with the health and well-being of their loved ones? Many turn to the world-renowned MD Anderson Hospital in Houston, Texas. MD Anderson Hospital is known as a worldwide leader in cancer treatments and has treated approximately 1.2 million patients since 1944. Physicians, such as Dr. Harrison, are at the forefront in the fight against childhood cancer.
So we treat all kinds of cancer for pediatrics. Obviously, it's a huge medical center with lots of different adult cancers. I think people forget that we have a very large and robust population of patients with childhood cancer as well.
What are some interesting characteristics of childhood cancer?
Many people are familiar with adult cancers because they have family members who have passed away or have had difficulties. But I think what people don't realize is that pediatric cancer, because of years and years of research, a lot of which was done here at MD Anderson, we have made tremendous success in curing children with childhood cancer. So if you look at all pediatric cancers combined, over 80%, if not 90%, of all children with cancer will be cured forever.
So, looking to the future, what do you see with what cancer research will become for children?
Before, what we used to do to cure Hodgkin's or leukemia, we kind of blasted our patients with a lot of very, very, very strong medicines that kind of killed everything but a lot of the good cells in our bodies. And so what we're trying to do now is to say, okay, here's a leukemia. This tumor is genetically like this. Let's try to find the target in this leukemia that we can then just identify a drug for this leukemia that will just target this leukemia specifically, so we can avoid a lot of the toxicity that we used to see with our older treatments. And I think that's really where a lot of the movement is trying to identify exactly on a very, very specific biological level how these tumors are different, and so that we can identify drugs that are specific for these tumors on their own.
Bear TV got curious after our interview and started to dig a bit deeper. Where are these treatments and cures coming from? Where does the research money come from? We were both surprised and disappointed to learn that only 4% of the money collected for cancer research goes to help the smallest of all cancer patients, the children. Make-A-Wish Foundation and Kids Are Strong Too agreed to sit down with us and speak about what they do to help families.
Kids Are Strong Too is an organization that supports children with any life-threatening illness in the areas of special programs, scholarships, and research.
The way that Tomika and I met was through the Kids Are Strong Too organization. Our daughter, Michaela, she was 6 years old when she was diagnosed with diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, which is a rare brain tumor. And unfortunately, when Michaela passed away in December, Tomika was one of the first people who stopped by our home. And the day after she passed away, Tomika and her organization, they founded a scholarship called Michaela Scholars in honor of our daughter.
We wish grant, and what that means is we meet with the parents and the child and determine what the child wants their wish to be, so we can grant the wish.
Is there one thing in particular you want to be sure everyone knows about the Make-A-Wish Foundation?
Yes, due to the large support of the volunteer network, 91 cents out of every dollar goes towards paying for the wish.
So how can everyday people, get involved with the Make-A-Wish Foundation?
Well, through a monetary donation or donation of airline miles, or it's really wonderful being a volunteer.
Financially, it's ridiculous what this country does or doesn't do for people with cancer. How is it that my son had a better treatment than children who don't have insurance or their parents don't have as good of insurance as we do. Parents emotionally not capable of being strong, sleeping on the floor all day long. Someone needs to be there for them. There's just more that needs to be done. And it can be done every single day, every single moment. There's a family who's struggling, they don't have food, they can't pay their bills. They're debating whether or not to go in. They look at their kid and just, are these symptoms? Ugh. They can't get checkups. Checkups are so important. If they could get a checkup, they might know sooner. It has to become better. And it shouldn't become a priority in your life when someone you love gets cancer. You should identify that this is an epidemic. It can be helped and funded. Money towards it. Science is expensive.
Scientific progress is measured in months and years, but it can't get that way without the proper amount of attention. This is preventing people, lots of people, from living normal lives, and you just gotta figure out a way to, get enough people's attention to say, hey, this is so much more than a month.
Hopefully one day, as a society, we will no longer need to worry about childhood cancer. It will be a thing of the past and something easily cured. Until that day, however, as a society, we need to come together and support some of our youngest little fighters. Do what you can today to help find a cure for tomorrow.